again, this is Guillermina Leon talking to you from L.U.C.H.A. We are a nonprofit housing organization located in Humboldt Park, and we are here to talk to you today about foreclosure. And it is a pleasure to be here. We hope that we will have some good information for you to be able to use if you have any concerns in terms of foreclosure, and be able to provide you some alternatives as far as to what you can do if you are in hardship, if you are in the verge of foreclosure, or if you are already in the process. So what is foreclosure? Well, let's talk about that. Foreclosure is basically when you fail to make the payments to your home, and as a result of that, the lender, or what we call the servicer, actually takes possession of your home. Therefore, the homeowner actually ends up losing their home, as well as affecting their credit greatly. Now, there are several types of foreclosure processes in the U.S. Every state is actually different. There is judicial foreclosure, and there is also non-judicial foreclosure. In a judicial foreclosure process, basically the process of foreclosure is taken through the court system, and as such the process takes a very thorough timeline, and it follows a very particular process regardless of the lender or slash servicer, as we refer to them. Now, there is also non-judicial process, and by this type of process, the deed of trust is used to conduct a non-judicial process whereby they can be settled or done or worked with outside of the court system, and the timeline is actually quite different. In Illinois, we have what you call a judicial process, whereby it can take anywhere from 12 to 15 months, sometimes less, sometimes a little more. It is a case-by-case basis according to the servicer's, basically actions. Some of them can be a little more lenient, however, it is best not to count on exceptions. In terms of a non-judicial process, states where that is the case, somebody can stop making their payment, and 3 months later they can be out of a home. So we are in fact lucky to have a longer process whereby you have options to be able to try and work something out in the case that you are going through hardship. Now, what are those options that you have? Let's talk first in terms of the timeline, so that you can know how much time you have and how you should go about it. The timeline, again, in Illinois is 12 to 15 months, like I said. And so initially, of course, when you miss the payment for your mortgage, regardless of the hardship reason, you start receiving the notices from the collection department reminding you that you're late on your payment, correct? Now, after that follows by month 3 or so, around 90 days. The actual foreclosure process begins whereby the servicer assigns an attorney to your case, and so that attorney is now in charge of processing the case through the court system from beginning to end. It is important to note that once this process begins, you actually do start acquiring legal fees, processing fees, court fees, and so it is more difficult to get up to date when one has fallen behind, given the fact that you are now adding to your monthly payments the late fees from the bank and all of these other court and legal fees that come about as a result of initiating foreclosure. So whenever possible, we do recommend that you try to keep away from that process beginning if you have the possibility. Sometimes that is not an option for many people. Now, once that happens, the process has begun, the attorney actually files the court system through the case of motion. And so, again, you have now climb on board. The foreclosure will take place nonstop, okay? And it is important that you try and do something about it. How do you know if it has started? Normally, you are to be given notice when the process has begun. And so this takes place when you receive what is called a court summons, where you obtain a document with a copy of your mortgage. It actually states the title of summons on the top, and it contains a copy of your mortgage. And it gives you 30 days to present yourself to court and give a response and a written appearance. Now, I do want to note that when you attend the court, there is a fee. It is around 200 and some, close to $300. Yes, there may be some difficulty for some people to meet up to this amount. And if that is your case, then just know that you are able to request assistance and see if you qualify. It is done within the same court building, okay? So please feel free to ask for that information if that is your case. Now, it is very important that you attend the court and file a response. Also, this is the reason this is important is because in some states there is what is called mediation option. This is not in every state. However, the mediation provides an opportunity for homeowners to seek assistance and come up with an alternative solution that may benefit both the homeowner and the lender. However, it is very important that you attend this court in order to request mediation assistance, okay? So that is another reason why attending court is very important. Now, after this takes place, the process is now going. Your foreclosure is now in session. The processing is taking place. Attorney is doing their role. The homeowner is expected to attend the court and give updates as to what they're trying to do if they're seeking help. Now, there is also, within 4 to 6 months after you stop paying, what is called the redemption period. What is the redemption period? Basically, it is up to this time that you have to be able to pay any amount that you're behind, as well as interest and fees and all of those accumulations that had come about. So this is the redemption period. In about 7 to 9 months, again, there's some flexibility at the end of the timeline. The public auction can actually be held, but first it must be approved by a judge, and it must also be published in the newspapers. You should be given notice if there is a foreclosure sale that is about to take place. One very important note, and that is if you're planning to seek for assistance from your servicer, it must be done before a date of sale is assigned to your home. Most of the time, once a sale date is given, the servicer will not accept applications. And so this is very important to know, because within the 2 weeks prior to the date, they usually will not accept any applications, sometimes even earlier. So again, it is important to note that while the process is going, you're able to request assistance directly to the servicer, okay, up to the date of sale. Now, 8 to 10 months after you stop paying, the final court takes place, and this is important because that it would be done to finalize the sale if such actually took place. And during this time, an order of eviction can be given. What that means is that normally the homeowner will be given 30 days to actually empty the home or come out of the home, to move out, shall we say. There is the option within 9 to 11 months where you can actually request an extension, but it is best that you don't wait until that period expires because there is no guarantee. So again, if a sale takes place and an order of eviction is given, normally this is also handed to you by a sheriff, and your name is actually to be written on an official document, an official order of eviction. Then that's 30 days in order for you to move out of the home. Again, you can request an extension, but it must be done prior to this time, okay, prior to the expiration of that date. Now, what does that mean? What options do you have as a homeowner? First of all, I want to note that there has to be a reason for requesting assistance. In other words, it's not just because my neighbor got modified. It's not just because he got a better deal or got some amount forgiven for principal. There has to be hardship present for you to request assistance. And so the lender will be looking for this reasoning when you apply. So whether you are behind or whether you are facing hardship and not yet fallen behind, you can request assistance. And so it is important that you write what is called a hardship letter together with your application, explaining the reason for your hardship. Very important to include dates such as I fell behind as of. So that would be your hardship date. Give the reason to explain the why you fell behind. This is any change in the financial circumstances within the household. This is the reason for the application. And so there, everything in the information or attachments that you provide with the application, which would be proof of income, whether you work for an employer or whether you are self-employed, whether it's cash or not, you will be asked for that information, including your income taxes for the last 2 years. You will also have to provide proof of hardship, anything that proves the reasoning behind why you're applying. Sometimes it could be that you had a sickness in the family, an unexpected bill. Perhaps you had temporary unemployment, broke a leg, and can go back to work for a few months. Perhaps the situation is more permanent, such as the death of one of the homeowners. Or it could be maybe retirement, which poses a change in your finances permanently. So again, it could be any circumstances or any changes in your finances would be a reason for hardship, and that you can go ahead and provide that information in addition to the other documentation. So reason for hardship as proof included with your income, as well as proof of any expenses in the household. You will be actually checked on your credit to prove the all of the expenses that you have on you, on your household, and trying to prove hardship. You also must actually provide proof of assets. So they want to know where you stand as far as do you have or are you able to support this mortgage, and moving forward, should they be able to approve you for assistance. This is all to prove your stability. And so I want to make something very clear. The decision as to whether somebody actually qualifies is actually based on your servicer. It is the servicer who makes the decision. It is no parties in between. And so to that I want to make a note. When you seek assistance, you can do it directly with the servicer, as I mentioned before, by calling the servicer, the number on your mortgage statement. That is your servicer. That is who you apply with, not anybody else. That is the only entity that can process your application, and it is because the decision will be actually made by them based upon the investor's guidelines. Whoever is the investor behind your mortgage is actually the final decision maker. And so the application is processed by your servicer. So go ahead and give them a call if you are facing financial difficulty. Also, one way to apply for assistance is for you to go ahead and reach out to the HUD agencies. That is the safest way to search for help. Your information is private and confidential. It is only between you and your counselor, of course. HUD wants to know who they assist. So yes, they will know. It's more statistical purposes, but again, your information is not sold out. It's as private as it can be, and it is the safest. Again, the services are mostly free. There are some agencies that charge a small fee. Do your homework. There are agencies that provide these services for free, such as L.U.C.H.A. And on that note, feel free to go ahead and reach out to L.U.C.H.A. Our services are free. Latin United Community Housing Association. We are located in Humboldt Park, 1152 North Christiana. Here is the information. Feel free to reach out to us. Our services are bilingual, and there is the information also as far as our intake, where you can send it and reach out to us also on our website for other services available. As far as other services are concerned, in addition to foreclosure, we do have information such as our financial foreclosure prevention seminars. The dates are done every Wednesday evening from 6 to 7. And this is to provide you information about the process of foreclosure and the options available to you. We are able to provide counseling to you as well in addition to these prevention seminars. But feel free to attend so that you can get more information as far as alternatives, how you can go ahead and apply for assistance regardless of whether you are going through a divorce or maybe suffering loss of income, situation in death in the family, or loss of business venture, whatever the case may be. Again, every last Wednesday of the month from 6 to 7, meaning that our next one will be on July 26th. And so here's our phone number, 773-489-8484. We also have an upcoming financial empowerment seminar that I'll put right here for you. And the financial empowerment seminar gives you a information on June 22nd is our upcoming one, and we will talk about preserving homeownership. See if I can zoom this a little better. Preserving homeownership, and also that will be done from 10 to 12, and consumer rights and credit traps, as well as identity theft, which will be done, there you go, sorry about that, which will be done from 2 to 4 p.m. Again, feel free to go ahead and register today by calling our number at 773-489-8484, and we will give you more information at that point in time. So let's get back and talk about what are the options for foreclosure. So you may be going through a temporary situation, and this is something that the lenders will be looking to. So in terms of a long-term situation, loss of income, death in the family, lost my job, and I can't get back to work because I had children, and I'm only head of household, whatever the case may be, if it's a long-term situation, you can request a modification. That's a permanent change in the terms of your loan, whether it's a reduction in interest rate, whether it's an extension in the life of the loan, let's say from 30 to 40 years. There's also a reduction in principal, and that is not a common thing unless you can probably say you probably had quite a reduction in value from the home or such. There's very few times when this is given. It is a servicer by servicer situation. Again, I just want to note it's not as common, but it is one of the situations given and that changes when there is a modification taking place. You also have the option for forbearance, and that is when you have a short-term situation. Forbearance is usually given when you have a temporary situation, like you broke your leg and you can't get back to work. Maybe you had a baby and can't get back to work until 2 months from now. A temporary situation, forbearance gives you a temporary period where your payment can be reduced or suspended. That is usually followed by the next option, which is a repayment plan. That means that you are giving the opportunity to make your regular payment in addition to a sum or a portion of whatever amount you're behind. And you do this until you actually get yourself up to date. These are retention options. Now there are also non-retention options. Non-retention means you don't have the capacity, you're not qualified to keep your home, or you don't want to keep your home. There's those situations as well. And so the options for non-retention would be a short sale, which you must be approved by your lender, so you must reach out. A short sale basically means that the lender approves you to pay, to sell the house for less than what you owe and consider that paid without having to foreclose on your home. It does affect your credit, but it is a lesser effect. Again, this has to be approved by the lender because you're basically selling the house for less and considering it resolved. Okay, that's a short sale. The last option is the deed in lieu. And the deed in lieu means that you sign your deed back to the lender. In this case, this is the only option out of all options where there's money involved. And again, this is still a case-by-case basis according to each servicer, where they may give you money to help you move out of the home. And this is in the case when you return the keys for having the home swept them up. And so they will actually come and inspect to make sure that the home is clean and that it's been emptied out and it's actually clean. Nothing has been removed and so on. So again, these are the retention and non-retention options. Again, we invite you all to join us. Reach out to your HUD agencies. Reach out to L.U.C.H.A. We are here for you. Our services, again, are free, whether it is foreclosure prevention, whether it is our financial empowerment coming up on July 22nd, or whether it is home buying. We also have some home buying alternatives for you in terms of workshops as well as counseling. So again, our number is 489-8484, area code 773. Here's our information to the organization. Excuse me for that. There we are. Okay, Lord have mercy. Okay, there we are. So 773-489-8484. It has been a real pleasure being with you today, and we hope to hear from you soon. Thank you for your time and have a wonderful evening.